They were, without a doubt, some of the most incredible and terrifying creatures our planet has ever seen. For a stretch of time that's almost impossible to imagine, they were the kings of the world, the undisputed masters of Earth.
174 million years. Just try to wrap your head around that number. I mean, it's so huge it's almost meaningless. To give you some perspective, our species, Homo sapiens, we've been around for maybe 300,000 years. They had an empire that lasted nearly 600 times longer than our entire existence.
And then, poof, they were gone. In what amounts to a geological blink of an eye, their entire dynasty just crumbled. All that's left are their bones, buried in the rock, and this one massive, planet-sized mystery. So what on earth happened to the dinosaurs?
To really understand how it all ended so suddenly, we first have to appreciate their incredible story. Their long, long time at the top.
You see, the age of dinosaurs isn't just one long, boring stretch of time. We split it into 3 totally distinct chapters: the Triassic, the Jurassic, and the famous Cretaceous. Each one was a different world, with a different cast of characters. So let's start at the very beginning.
Okay, picture this. 240 million years ago, all the continents are smashed together into one giant landmass called Pangaea. It's hot, it's dry, it's a tough place to live, and this is where the first dinosaurs show up. But forget the giants you're thinking of. These first guys, like Eouraptor, were small. Some were barely the size of a big dog. And here's the key. They were just one of many reptile groups fighting for a spot. But they had a secret weapon. They were warm-blooded. And that was a game changer when a huge extinction event at the end of the Triassic wiped out most of their cold-blooded competition.
With the competition out of the way, the Jurassic period begins. And this is when the dinosaurs just exploded onto the scene. They took over. The plant eaters started getting enormous. We're talking about early longnecks like the Titanosaurs weighing 15,000 kilos. Insane! We also see the first feathered dinosaurs take to the air, like the famous Archaeopteryx. And the world itself is changing too. Pangaea is breaking up, creating new coastlines, new climates, and new kingdoms for the dinosaurs to rule. And that brings us to the Cretaceous. This is it. This is the main event, the absolute peak of the dinosaur age. The diversity is just mind-boggling. This is the era of all the rock stars you know and love. Triceratops, the raptors, and of course, the king himself, Tyrannosaurus rex. Fun fact, T-Rex was actually a latecomer to the party, evolving to become the top predator in just the last few million years of the dinosaur reign. Oh, and flying above them all, you had reptiles like Quetzalcoatlus with a wingspan as wide as a small airplane.
Get ready, because this fact is going to bend your brain a little bit. We are actually closer in time to the T-Rex than the T-Rex was to the dinosaurs of the late Jurassic. T-Rex lived about 68 million years ago. The Jurassic ended 145 million years ago. That's a gap of almost 80 million years between them. It just shows you the staggering, mind-blowing scale of time we're talking about here.
So for 174 million years, their world turned. Life went on. They were, for all intents and purposes, unstoppable. And then came one single terrible day, when the sky itself fell.
The weapon of their destruction? An asteroid. And listen, this wasn't some little space pebble. This thing was somewhere between 10 and 15 kilometers wide. That is the size of Mount Everest, a literal mountain falling out of space.
And the speed, you can't even really picture it. 30 kilometers per second. That's more than 100,000 kilometers an hour. It's 150 times faster than a jet plane. There was no seeing it coming, no time to react, it was just there. The moment of impact was, well, it was apocalyptic. The energy unleashed was equal to 1 billion, that's billion with a B, Hiroshima atomic bombs all going off in the exact same spot at the exact same time. It was an event so violent, life on Earth had never seen anything like it. At Ground Zero, down in modern-day Mexico, everything for hundreds of miles was just gone, instantly vaporized. The impact threw superheated rock and dust high into the atmosphere, and as it rained back down all over the world, it was so hot it set the planet's forests on fire. Gigantic tsunamis, some maybe 2 kilometers high, scoured the coastlines, and the shockwaves triggered earthquakes and volcanoes all around the globe. It was, quite literally, hell on Earth.
You'd think that was the worst of it, right? But no. As terrifying as that first day was, the real killer was what came next, the long, dark aftermath.
In a single day, the biggest power shift in the history of our planet happened. Before the impact, This was a dinosaur's world. We get it, but after, the entire slate was wiped clean. And this created an incredible opportunity for a little group of animals that had been hiding in the shadows, our own tiny, furry ancestors, the mammals.
All that dust and smoke and ash from the impact and the fires, it choked the sky. It blocked out the sun not for days, but for years. It plunged the entire planet into what scientists call a nuclear winter. Without sunlight, plants couldn't grow. The herbivores that ate the plants starved. And then, of course, the carnivores that ate the herbivores starved. It was a brutal chain reaction that wiped out more than 75% of every single species on the planet.
But here's the twist. Not every single dinosaur died. One small group managed to tough it out. The smaller, feathered dinosaurs that could fly. And over the next 66 million years, they evolved into the animals we see absolutely everywhere today. That's right. Every bird on Earth, from a sparrow to an eagle, is a living, breathing dinosaur. The T-Rex's closest living relative? A chicken. No joke.
So how in the world do we know all of this? I mean, for decades, this whole extinction thing was a massive mystery. But scientists, acting like detectives at a 66-million-year-old crime scene, started putting the clues together.
The first big break in the case came from a really weird chemical element called iridium. Now, iridium is super rare here in the Earth's crust, but it's really common in asteroids. It was basically the cosmic fingerprint of the killer.
And here's how they cracked the case. First, the clue. All around the world, scientists found this thin layer of iridium in the rock, and it all dated to exactly 66 million years ago. So the theory was born. A massive asteroid must have hit the Earth and vaporized, spreading this iridium dust everywhere. But they needed the smoking gun, and they found it. A massive, 180-kilometer-wide impact crater, the Chicxulub crater, buried deep under Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. Case closed.
You know, this whole incredible story, it isn't just a fascinating piece of ancient history. It's also a pretty powerful and sobering warning about how fragile life on this planet can be. That asteroid strike is what we call the fifth mass extinction. Well, today, almost all scientists agree that we are living right in the middle of the sixth one. And this time, the cause isn't a rock from outer space. It's us. Through habitat destruction, pollution, climate change, we are now causing species to go extinct at a rate that's hundreds, maybe even 1,000 times higher than normal. This really puts it all into a very humbling perspective, doesn't it? Just look at that. The dinosaurs' time on top. 174 million years. And then there's our time, humanity's existence, just 300,000 years. Our entire history is a tiny, almost invisible sliver compared to their reign.
The dinosaurs were wiped out by a random cosmic force completely beyond their control. We, on the other hand, we are the asteroid this time. We are the cataclysm. So the final question this leaves us with is a really challenging one. The dinosaurs set the record at 174 million years. Can we, with all our knowledge, our technology, our supposed intelligence, can we even come close? Or will our time as rulers of this planet be just a brilliant but tragically short flash in the grand history of life on Earth?